Hi everyone, Lee, Southlands Motor Company. I'm cold, I'm wet. It's absolutely lashing it down outside the showroom today. And because I'm taking 10 days off, a little bit of R&R next week, I've decided it's time I got my finger out and shot a video because it's been 3 weeks since we did the last one, which was the barn door versus tailgate. Thank you for all your comments on that. Thank you for your feedback. It's been interesting to hear a bit of you talk about which ones you prefer. This video, as it says in the header, it's probably a video I didn't ever want to make. I've never been somebody that likes to use our selling points on our van and talk about our competition. What I do is I do point a few things out when I'm doing the videos, sound deadening, for example, but I try to not really sell our vans by discrediting our competition, discrediting, should I say. That's not what they've been doing though. So it's come to light in the last couple of weeks. We do always find out, we know you're watching us, what their unique selling points have been over the last few weeks. And it's been trying to, in effect, say that they do this better than Southlands and they do this better than Southlands. So what I've decided to do is not be petty, but just point out what we do in our van. And then what you can do is you can use all the information I'm giving you. So when you do go and compare us to other companies, which we fully expect you to do and we happily embrace, you can have a look at these things. And if their vans don't have them, then you can make your own opinion up. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you some fuel and a bit of ammunition. And more importantly, I'm being helpful, which is what we always try and do. I want to be helpful. I want you to buy the best quality van possible. And what I want to do is point out a few things that you should be looking at. So we're going to ignore this stone grey one and we're going to start over here. We have been calling this the wrong colour blue, by the way, for the last couple of weeks. Nobody's picked up on that, so we're not going to comment on that either. Now, sound deadening. Here's one. Sound deadening is done on the panels, and we do it on every single one of our panels. It's done on the outer skim panel with insulation on the underside or inside of that. Beeping here. Sound deadening, very important. What that does is it eliminates road noise on the van. What you'll find is a lot of car audio companies started doing sound deadening first and then it drifted through. So sound deadening is something I've got a big background in, coming from a car audio background. Massively important. It helps not only keep the van warm because obviously you're putting that skim on the van, but more importantly, it eliminates road noise from the van itself. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. You can chalk and cheese tell the difference between a van that is sound deadened and a van that's not. After that, you have insulation. It is really raining right now. After that, you have insulation. One of our other competitors, not going to mention their name, local, have now started telling customers that you don't need insulation in your van because it makes your van sweat. Quite the opposite. You do need insulation in your van to keep the heat inside, especially if you're going to use your van in winter or colder months. So make sure that when you're looking at a van from a start point, it has insulation, and more importantly, give that panel a little knock that it's sound deadened. Straight away, before you even get into the internals of a van, if that's not been done as part of the preparation, what else hasn't been done? So I'm going to go to this van. I'm going to do a little bit of bouncing around between the two vans here. I'm going to go to this one first. This brings me on to my next step, wiring. So what you want to be doing is making sure that when you're building your van, you're doing all your prep work first. And that includes sound deadening, includes insulation. We do a 13mm floor. It's a thicker floor than all of our competitors do, etc. as well. I'm going to talk about how we trim between the two panels as well. Wiring looms. So if you have a little look into this cupboard here, and I suggest that everybody looks at this and looks at the electrics on camper vans. Look at how neat the electrics are on ours, and please, please, please compare that to our competitors, because we see some absolute horror shows when it comes to wiring. Definitely something you should look at. How neat is the wiring? And more importantly, we physically hand build all of our wiring looms on our van. I did a video when I collected my own van from factory, my T7, and the gentleman who was actually cameraman that day who did step in, Dan, who builds our vans, his dad makes all our wiring looms. We don't ship them in from other companies like every single other company that I know does. We hand build them. Another thing you want to look for, I wasn't actually going to say this, but this is something that came to light recently. When you look at your gas locker up at the top section here should have a separate regulator, and this should be a sealed gas locker. Do check that that's in there. And more importantly, are you getting gas test certificates with your van? If you're not, who's doing your gas tests? If anybody's doing them at all. So look at that. The bin I was referring to on the floor is this little trim piece here. How is the floor put in? How is this side step put back in? How is the carpet or trimming work done between the van and the cab section itself? If you notice, ours is all absolutely immaculate, completely neat, lovely trim panels from front to back section. Floor is completely flush with the floor itself. And again, as mentioned earlier, we do a thicker floor. And this is what's nice. You can walk from that van over there to this van over here, where we actually had to custom make the side step for a T7, including fitting a little inlay inside the step. But again, all completely matches and it looks absolutely fantastic. So we don't do any scrimping on quality. If we walk to this van, we go to the back section, have a little bit of a look. Actually, you're going to need to go in. I'll show you. Do you know what? We'll do this first. Back section. No, we're not going to do it first. We're going to talk about the electrics. I waffled there. That's the first time I've ever done it in a video, but we're not going to cut. We're going to keep going. I'm going to show you this. Again, same principle in the back section here. This is going to show you the electrics. Again, rear cupboard. You jump in and pan around there for me. On the T7, again, all done extremely neat and to the same standard as the van you have just looked at. Right, the bit that I just slightly waffled on there is the next step. So another thing, we find our competitors offering rib beds, which is what we do a lot of. The difference between a rib bed though and a rib sliding bed is exactly what I've just done there. So there's a price difference between the two, so please make sure you're checking which one you're getting. The rib sliding bed allows you to jump in and slide the bed forward or backwards to create more room in the boot and less in the cab. What we're finding is a lot of companies are fitting this particular bed, they're fitting it in the forward position, and then they're touting how big the boot is. So then they're showing you the back section of the van going, look at this big boot that you've got, which we can show you now. So look at this big boot that you've got at the back section. Aren't our vans better than Southland's, etc., etc.? What they don't know is ours already offers that. It just is on a sliding facility, so you can give or take away. So that's something that you should definitely consider. Again, make sure you've got a sliding rib bed over a standard bed, which you'll see the back section down on this one. We're walking backwards and forwards. We're getting with steps in between it all, but that's what it's all about. So this is the sliding bed, parcel shelf down in the back section. Again, check that out, because if the bed is permanently fixed in the forward position, what that means is you're getting less space in the cab. The tent quality. There's a lot. Sorry, this is going on a bit. The tent quality itself. Check the canvas out. Another company recently is saying that these scenic tents are completely pointless, and the reason why they're saying they're completely pointless is because they don't offer them. Marine grade, thickest quality you can get, scenic canvas, and we do a Milano suede upper bedboard. So the suede bedboard, beautifully comfortable, more importantly, no high gloss finishes, so when you're lying in bed at night time, you're not staring up at a big shiny gloss bedboard, which will keep you awake at night. Whilst we're on the bedboard, how is the bedboard fastened in? Ours, Transporter HQ gas rams physically fastened into the strengthening bars on the side of the vans. Here's one for you. You're not going to like this, some of you. I'll let you come away from that light there a second. They're not going to like this one, but I'm going to tell you. A couple of our local competitors, they just screw them directly in from the top here. And what that means is when you're pushing the bedboard up and down, you're pulling on these screws here, which will loosen over time. There's also another company that fits them where they are a three-piece bedboard, and they sell it as it's more headroom in the back section of the van. Yes, it is. What it also is, though, is a lot more hinges and a lot more to go wrong because it's got double the amount of gas rams, especially the way they fit them. So keep an eye on that, because there is plenty of headroom in the van that we build. There's another thing for you. So it goes on and on and on. And what, again, I think what I'm trying to get across in this video is just look at things that are going to make a difference. Solar panel, how is the solar panel fitted? What battery system are they using? Again, go big on electrics, go big on quality of fit, and go big on, more importantly, the quality of the doors and the hinges. Look for things like, how is this particular hinge designed? How are these hinges fastened to the actual van itself? We see some, all of ours are soft close, shiny gloss splashbacks and shiny gloss worktops are my absolute pet hate. I think they're terrible. Please pay attention to all these things when you are picking and choosing a van. They are massive things. And more importantly, I think what a lot of people do is, I'm going to sit here. What a lot of people do is they are blinded, in effect, by people. Right, this is the first, but we've just had to stop the video because someone walked into the showroom and we were 11 minutes in. So we're just going to pick back up from where we left off from last time. And I think what we were saying was, nice and simply, what you need to be doing for is looking for the quality of the van. Don't have your blinkers on by gloss shiny things back here, because there's a lot of competition in the market now. There's a lot of vans out there on the market, and every single person that you speak to is going to claim to be the best. That's a conversation I had with a customer recently. He rang up and I said, well, everyone you ring is going to say they're better than us and they're better than them. That's just the way it is. What you need to do, and hopefully this video has given you a little bit of ammunition for that, is to look for certain things. These aren't things that we point out that we do because we don't do them for no reason. We do them because they're important, and we do them because it gives us a very high quality van, which helps us, because if we take the van back in part exchange in 2 and 3 years time, it means we've got a really high quality, non-rattling, well-built van with no problems with electric and gas, etc., etc., etc. So I think what this video is a little bit of a jibe at the competition, but more importantly, it's kind of throwing out there what Southlands do as a van, how we build them, how good quality they are, and hopefully you can take this on board should you be looking for a van and compare that against those competitors' vans. So thank you for watching, thanking you for allowing me to get it off my chest, and to all our competitors, we hope you enjoyed this one. Bye for now.